alang sa ecumenical prayer nga panguluhan ni Reverend Father Joseph Alner Garrido o Bai Harunay Carmelita Macapaar. Sundan kini sa pagkanta sa atong nasudnong awit. Palihog manindog.
Sa ngalan samahan sa Anak ug sa Espiritu Santo. Amen. Gamahanang Amahan, among magbubuhat, samtang ang imong katawhan nagapadayon sa pagpanaw ning kalibutan. Kami usab nagapadayon sa pagpangita aron ang tinuod nga kalambuan o kalinaw among makaplagan. Ang pandemya misulay kanamo, apan kini milig-on usab kanamo. Ang pandemya naghimo kanamong mapasalamaton sa inadlaw-adlawng pagkinabuhi. Ang pandemya naghimo kanamong maglig-on aron makalahutay nining mga pagsulay. Tinuod ang kinabuhi sa matag adlaw nagpadayon. Ang COVID ania pa sa among taliwala Ginoo, busa dawata kining among mga pagampo alang sa imong paggiya sa among pagabuhaton. Samtang kami magkahiusa nga mugakos sa umaabot. Umaabot diin ang kinatibuk ang katawhang kalambuan, anaa alang kanamo. Umaabot diin ang kalahian, maoy paagi alang sa kahiusahan. Umaabot diin ang kalambuan o kalinaw, manag-uban o magkauyon, labi na diri sa Mindanao. Itugot kini, Amahan, sa ngalan ni Hesus, nga among Ginuog manlunubos, diha sa kahiusa sa Espiritu Santo, Dios hangtod sa kahangturan. Amen. Sa ngalan samahan sa Anak sa Espiritu Santo. Amen.
Magbabadan migdome kanamit sa ini kahaponon. Tambong ko ito sa ini Mindanao Peace Conference. Pamadaan na magbabada. Ito yan po sa ini, panagtigom na ikaasim na edo. Sugod kay mampulikunto na edo. Kasi padtog ka po nga sa ina, seminar noy, na pamadaan na magbabada. Susiko naman sa ini, yabo na magkagagahom. Pamadaan no, o yan po sa ini, mga Mindanao Peace Conference no, programa. Kung naman ito pagka makagagahom ito sa ini kalibutan kunat migihi ito na hinaot pad o lampos ko ito sa ini no, mga pag paningkamot na ikaasim ito pag seminar na pamadaan no, magbabada sus ko naman ito magbobo ito tibo no, kapong ako ikaasim no, wada mga kadautan to pag seminar na ikasim na edo. Si itibo, pangamudo ko ikaw na magbabada. Amen.
Kayang magiliw, ewas ng sinananan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisigil sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw ay hinagang tulang awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang islang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na naghihingi, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidinig. Lumalang araw ng walhagin pagsingka, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya ng pagkay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Good morning, magandang umaga po, ug maayong buntag kanatong tanan. Mayong pag-abot o welcome sa ikawalo nga tuig sa atong Mindanao Peace Studies Conference. O karon nga tuig mao kini ang tema sa atong gipahigayon na komperensya, Resilience and Harmonization for Peace and Development in Mindanao. Ang atong panagtigom na hitabo pinaagi sa hiniusang pagpaningkamot sa Father Saturnino Urius University uban sa GIZ Deutsche Gesellschaft für Internationale Zusammenarbeit. Inubanan usab sa mga nagkadaiyang partner agencies, ang Department of Interior and Local Government, Mindanao Development Authority o European Union. Karon ang unang adlaw sa atong maong pagpanagtigom. Ako si Maria Aubrey Friday T. Hadumas from FSUU, ang host karong adlaw. Aron formal na ablihan ng atong pagpanagtigom, atong sugaton sa masigapong palakpak ang University President sa FSUU nga mao si Reverend Father John Christian Young.
Justice Maria Philomena Singh, Supreme Court Justice and keynote speaker. Uban siya kanato live online. Live nga dili wala din ba? Online siya. Jose Roy Vervalio III and GIZ, our partner. Beverly Besmanos, Bantay Kita. Ang mga dato ug bayi uban sa mga kaigsunan nato sa mga kadalaing-laing mga tribo. The representatives of the partner agencies and other line agencies of government. Father Randy, Vice President for Academics and Research. Zeni Asura, Vice President for Administrative and Student Affairs. Deans, directors, faculty and staff, students of FSUU, participants of this conference, friends, guests, maayong buntag sa tanan. Pope Francis, in his latest message for the Day of Peace, says that there is a famine of peace today. Niya makita man nato nino kanang ding famine of peace na ikakulwangan sa kalinaw. Kita man nato ni sa kalibutan ron na gira sa Ukraine, na daghang mga laing mga gira. Kung makita po nato ni na ikakulangan sa kalinaw dinhi sa atoa. Kamo mga nasa mga tribo kibaw mo ani. Now in its 8th year, the Mindanao Peace Studies Conference seeks to contribute and continue contributing to this project of peace. The COVID-19 pandemic, several climate and geological events, the continuing environmental degradation, brought to the fore the necessity of resilience and harmony as necessary ingredients of peace. Thus, the theme for this conference, Resilience and Harmonization for Peace and Development in Mindanao. Today happens to be the feast day of Saint Cecilia. Kaila ba mo kinsa si Saint Cecilia? No. Usa ka virgin and martyr. She's the patroness of music and musicians. And as we know, there can be no music without harmony. The word harmony comes from the Greek harmos and the Latin harmonia, which means joint, joining, or concord. It means the pleasing, at its very essence, the pleasing arrangement of parts. We know that harmony is possible only if we listen to each other, if we dialogue with each other. Kibalo po ta nga walay music kung walay harmony, di ba? Or at least no good music without harmony, no? Kanang usa sa akong pinakakontra kanang naikaraoke unya iyabag ang manganta. No? Di ba? So may gusto maminaw og kanta-kanta og karaoke unya iyabag. Naapod siguro pero ako dili. No, kailangan na harmony, na murag sakto nga tono, no, nga relationship between the notes and the chords, no. So, para na ay harmony, para na ay nindot nga music, no, amongst individuals and amongst people, kinahanglan nga maminaw ta sa sikausa ug naay pagstorya, dialogue. No? So this is what we intend to do on this first day of this conference. Maminaw, no? Maminaw sa inyong mga storya, isip mga nasa tribo, o maminaw po ta sa mga line agencies nato, no? O sa ubang mga partners, no? Para na ay harmony, na ay good music. Okay. Ako tapusin ng akong opening remarks sa gamito na ako mga pulong ni Pope Francis sa iyang message for peace for 2022. Pope Francis says, "In every age, peace is both a gift from on high and the fruit of a shared commitment. Indeed, we can speak of an architecture of peace to which different institutions of society contribute, and an art of peace that directly involves each one of us. All can work together to build a more peaceful world, starting from the hearts of individuals and relationships in the family, then within society and with the environment, and all the way up to relationships between peoples and nations." So maayong buntag sa tanan. I hope and pray that this day and the whole conference will be fruitful and productive. Welcome to this conference.
Daghang salamat, Father John, sa makanunayon og mainit nga pagdawat sa atong mga partisipante. Live kita karon nga makitan sa ubang partisipante online sa atong official Facebook page sa Father Saturnino Urias University, Butuan City, Philippines, ingon man sa atong YouTube channel. Ato usab hatagan og pag-ila ang atong nagkalain-laing partners gikan sa gobyerno ug pribadong sektor. Ana kitay partners gikan sa GIZ Spade, Forum ZFD Butuan, mauusab sa atong mga government organizations, gikan sa DOST Caraga, PIA Caraga, mauusab sa atuang NCMF Caraga, sa DENR Caraga, sa ato pong NCIP, hilabi na sa atong NCIP Caraga o sa CHED Caraga. Nausap kita yung mga partner organizations, sa mga civil organizations. Ana kini si Ma'am Beverly Besmanos from Bantay Kita. Nausap kita yung mga partners gikan sa Missionary Sisters of Mary. Ato usab hatagan og recognition og pag-ila ang atong nagkalain-laing mga partisipante. Ilabi na kamo ato ang mga partisipante nga anaa karon din hiya from nagkadaida-iyang mga tribo or IP communities, mauusab sa academe, anaa from DLS-JBC, from PNU Mindanao, from Northwestern Agusan Colleges, from Asian College Foundation, from St. Paul University, from Father's Urias Institute of Technology of Ampayon Incorporated, anausab from the School of the Morning Star, Butuan City, from Timber City Academy, from Holy Child Colleges of Butuan, from Father Saturnino Urius College, Bayugan Incorporated. Ana usab from Father Saturnino Urius College, Sibagat Incorporated. From the Department of Education, from St. Michael College of Caraga, from St. Teresa College of Tandag Incorporated, from Sacred Heart School of Butuan, nausap kitay academe from Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy Kitcharao Incorporated, from Bishop Hayden Institute Kabadbaran, from SG Annex, from St. James High School Buena Vista, from Northwestern Agusan Colleges, from Candelaria Institute, from ECLC College of Butuan, and of course, from Father Saturnino Urius University. Ato usab pasalamatan og hatagan og pag-ila ang atong organizing team from FSUU, ang administration sa FSUU, ug ang FSUU ULAP. Daghang salamat sa kanunay nga pagsuporta. Aron matabangan kita nga mas masabtan ang atong pagpanagstorya mahitungod sa kasaysayan sa kalinaw, atong tawagon og maminaw kita kang Sir Jose Roy Veralio III, ang Senior Advisor for Peace, Building and Governance, strengthening the implementation of regional and local peace and development agendas in Mindanao, GIZ. Iyang isugilon ang rasyonale or hinungdan mahitungod sa tema nato para karong adlaw, nga mao ang securing peace and development resilience among ICCs and IPs in Agusan del Norte. Masipang pakpak alang kang Sir Veralio.
Video first.
And I am commissioned by the German government, German Federal Ministry of the Economic Operation of Development, or BMZ, and the European Union, implemented by the GIZ. Me, SPADE, is a part of the EU program Mindanao Peace and Development Program, or MINPAD RICE, a peace and development program implemented by the GIZ and World Bank. Implementing partner of SPADE are Department of Interior and Local Government, or DILG, and the Mindanao Development Authority, or MINDA. This was implemented this year until the year 2025. Let me tell you something about the project background. Based on the Philippine Development Plan, or PDP, year 2017 to year 2022, which is based on the 2030 Agenda and the Voluntary National Review by the Philippine Government, the Philippines National Peace and Development Program, Hayapa at Masaganang Pamayanan, Pamana, and the Ambisyon Natin year 2040 support the implementation of the PDP and is based on the three core objectives: strengthening transparency governance, poverty education in conflict-affected regions, and strengthening capacities for non-violent conflict resolution and social cohesion at community level. Mindanao is in the focus as the poorest region in the Philippines and characterized by numerous violent political and social conflict. Much attention is the armed conflict between the Philippine government and the communist rebel group NPA. Bangsamoro Autonomous Region Muslim Mindanao, or BARM, also focus area after the signing of the peace agreement in 2014, passing the Bangsamoro Basic Act Law in the year 2018, and the plebiscite in 2019. The Bangsamoro transition period now shall be extended to year 2025 after the midterm review. Here are the SPADE and MINPAD RICE objectives. Overall goal of MINPAD RICE is to contribute towards a peaceful, cohesive, secure, and inclusively developed Mindanao. specific goal aims to improve the socioeconomic conditions for enabling inclusive development of climate-sensitive agriculture value chains in Mindanao, with a particular focus on the conflict-affected areas, of which the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region Muslim Mindanao is a special region of attention. BMZ, state and non-state actors have implemented regional and local peace and development agendas in selected areas of Mindanao in an inclusive manner. Residents of all 6 regions of Mindanao, with special focus on smallhold farmers, fishers, indigenous people, ex-combatants, women and youth. Capacities of agriculture cooperatives for better service delivery have been strengthened. An enabling environment for the conflict-sensitive promotion of investments and partnerships for value addition and increased productivity has been created. And access to knowledge about approaches to regional conflicts, sensitive and climate-smart investment promotion has been extended. Cooperation and communication between regional peace and order councils and regional development councils is improved to strengthen the inclusive implementation of regional peace and development agendas. Selected local government units practice conflict-sensitive and peace-promoting planning. So, that's all that I have for you today. To sum it all up, once again, our aim is to strengthen the implementation of regional and local peace and development agendas in Mindanao. Thanks a lot for watching.
Yan. So, ang among project, gitawag og SPADE. Iyang pag-pronounce spade, no? Di ka na siya natawa. Mayong buntag sa atong mga bisita, labi na sa ato ang mga kakatubo nga igsuot. Ako nga si Roy, ang among opisina sa SPADE na adya sa Dole, dapit. Pero hangtod ra pod mi diha sa December. Mamalhin mi Cagayan ug Davao. Akong tahas karon ang paghatag sa inyo og istorya or background o hinungdan nganong naata diri. So ang una niadtong 2017 namugna ang gitawag og Caraga Roadmap for Peace. Kanang Caraga Roadmap for Peace usa ka dokumento nga gipirmahan sa Regional Development Council o sa Regional Peace and Order Council nga usa ka dokumento nga diin nakit-an nato og unsay hinungdan sa kagubot sa Caraga. Ang tinubdan di ay sa kagubot sa Caraga 4 ka buok. Una, ang mga rebelde, insurgency. Ikaduha, ang kriminalidad. Ang ikatulo, ang kining gitawag og kaning IP discrimination. Unsa man na siya? Kanang dili pagtratar sa atong matutubo og sakto. Ikaupat, upat man ka buok, kining gitawag og resource-based conflict o ang hinungdan sa kagubot mao ang mga katigayunan nga naa sa ato ang natural nga katigayunan sa ato ang Caraga. Unya ang kini nga mga katigayunan ang kasagaran tag-iya ani kinsa man? Kamo. Sa ato pa duha ka I'm sorry for the English speaking friends of mine. You can just read browse through. Duha sa upat nga hinungdan sa kagubot nato sa ato ang Caraga di ay may kalambigitan sa atong indigenous people. Nya kini nga duha maupod ni siya ang hinungdan pod nganong naay kriminalidad ug naay rebelde. Sa ato pa ang kagubot nato sa atong karaga di ay ug atong tan-awon naay kalambigitan gyud tanan sa atong katutubo, no? Pila mo kabuok nga kuan kining tribes dinhi sa karaga? Ha? Unom ka tribo, di ba? By the way, kining kagubot ha, dili lang ni sa military ba, ngadto sa katutubo, ngadto sa mga na dili katutubo, asa pod ang mga katutubo, nag-away pod sila sa ilang kaugalingon. Ano? So kini siya ang atong 8 na katuig, Father, nga mag-istorya ta sa mga hinungdan ug maayo unta nga atong makita ang mga solusyon at ta solusyon mag-focus, no? Kay murag daghan kay problema. Ako pod naapoy daghan. Atong tan-awon ug masulbad ba pinaagi sa giingon ganiha ni Father John sa pakig-istorya ra gyud ay masulbad. So, dili kini sinugdanan pero kini usa, next slide please. Sorry. Ang ato ang aktibidad karon, ang among suporta isip sa GIZ nga padayon pagsuporta sa mga activity sa kuan FSUU partnership naman ni murag 8 na ba ni katuig, Father? Murag moabot pa siguro ning 20. Hopefully, no? Hopefully. So kami mo suporta sa FSUU, mao ni among suporta ug unsa may atong makita karon. Ang atong buot untang makabuot karon nga kamo na amoy ing-ani nga forum nga pakahistorya mo sa inyong mga problema. Ayaw pud tanan. Pilion nato ang problema ha ug unsay topic ra. Kagato hisgutan tanan dili mahurot. Ug unsa ray main topic ha? Ang namo gyud pangutana karon taud-taud. Unya, naamay mga ahensya sa gobyerno o kami pribado ug unsa poy salmot nga among matubag kaninyo. No? Ang dili nato matubag ato ang istoryahan ug atong ipaabot sa angay nga makatubag ni ana. Ang ikatulo, maayo ni. Ang katong mga batan-on o mga estudyante nga naa pa intawon sa ilahang pagsugod sa kinabuhi, makasalmot, makapamati og makasabot og makadugang ngadto sa contribution sa kalinaw, dili sa kagubot. Nga hinaot unta sa ugma damlag sa amo pa sa Cebu. Mao ba nagyapon, no? Sa atong kaugmaon ang kining mga batan-on makasalmot unya sa atong kalambuan. Daghang salamat ug maayong buntag.
Daghang salamat Sir Roy sa paghatag kanamo og katin-awan aron mas masabtan pa ang tumong sa atong panagtigom karong adlaw. Hapit na gayud kita sa atong gipaabot nga bahin sa atong conference karong buntaga. Og sa walay paglangan, atong hangyoon ang Dean sa College of Law sa atong universidad para formal na ipaila-ila kanato ang atong keynote speaker. Atong tawagon si Attorney Rodney C. Ato. Masipang pakpak.
Maayong buntag sa tanan. It is with honor that I introduce to you the keynote speaker of the Mindanao Peace Studies Conference 8. Justice Maria Filomena D. Singh was born on June 25, 1966. As preparatory course for the College of Law, nahuman niya ang Bachelor of Arts in English, major in Imaginative Writing, cum laude, sa University of the Philippines. Nahuman niya ang iyang Juris Doctor degree sa Ateneo de Manila University School of Law with second honors distinction. Nahumansab siya og Master of Laws in International Legal Studies sa Washington College of Law sa American University in Washington, D.C., United States of America. Nagpractice siya og abogasya sulod sa napulo ka tuig. Atong wala pa siya mi-appeal sa hudikatura ni adtong October 2002 isip presiding judge sa Branch 31 Metropolitan Trial Court sa Quezon City. Gi-appoint siya nga executive judge sa Metropolitan Trial Court Quezon City for 2 terms. Dungan niini napili og nilingkod si Justice Singh isip representante sa tanang first level courts sa nasod sa Board of Trustees sa Philippine Judicial Academy. Nagserbisyo siya sa Philippine Judicial Academy Board of Trustees hangtod sa iyang promotion sa Regional Trial Court Quezon City isip presiding judge sa Branch 85 ni adtong Hunyo 2007. Si Justice Singh gihatagan og Don Antonio Madrigal Award isip Most Outstanding First Level Court Judge of 2007 sa Society for Judicial Excellence of the Supreme Court. Gikan Agosto 2009 hangtod Hunyo 2010, si Justice Singh usa ka Hubert Humphrey Fellow sa Court Management and Judicial Education sa US Department of State. Ug sa dagan sa maong fellowship, nagtrabaho siya sa institutional reform sector sa World Bank, particular sa judicial reforms project sa Europe ug Central Asia. Sa samang tuig, si Justice Singh nahimo usab nga unang Philippine Judicial Fellow sa Federal Judicial Center sa Washington, D.C., ang educational arm sa US Supreme Court. Niadtong March 14, 2014, si Justice Singh gi-appoint as Associate Justice of the Court of Appeals. She served as chairperson of the Court's Committee on Continuing Judicial Education ug isip miyembro sa Court's Committee on Rules, Committee on Gender and Development ug editor sa Court of Appeals Journal. Nagserbisyo siya sa daghang komite sa Korte Suprema. Lakip ang Technical Working Group nga nag-draft sa Rule on Small Claims ug sa mga templates niini. Ang Technical Working Group on the Updating of the Philippine Bench Book of Forms for Trial Court Judges, Technical Working Group on the Revision of the Rules Governing Notaries Public. Sa pagkakaroon, si Justice Singh usa ka miyembro sa Committee of Gender Responsiveness sa Judiciary, Technical Working Group sa Electronic Notarization, Subcommittee para sa Revision sa Code of Professional Responsibility, and Working Vice Chairperson sa Subcommittee para sa Revision sa Rules of Civil Procedure. Niadtong 2017, si Justice Singh adunay pribilehiyo sa pagdraft sa Chapter 6 sa Swift and Fair Administration of Justice of the Philippine Development Plan, ang economic blueprint sa nasod para sa 2017 to 2040. Niini nga chapter, giduso ni Justice Singh ang usa ka pamaagi sa sektor alang sa paghatod sa hustisya, usa ka dako nga pagbalhin gikan sa tradisyonal nga pamaagi sa ahensya. Si Justice Singh mao ang chairperson sa Civil Law Department sa Philippine Judicial Academy ug milingkod sa Subcommittee for Curriculum Review. Miyembro usab siya sa faculty sa daghang mga law school sa nasod. Lakip ang Ateneo de Manila University, University of the Philippines, University of Santo Tomas, Lyceum University, De La Salle University ug ang Manuel L. Quezon University. Niadtong 2021, si Justice Singh gi-appoint isip expert resource person sa Legal Education Board Curriculum Revision Committee sa paghimo sa revised model law curriculum para sa legal education. Justice Singh is a published author. Kaniadtong 2021, nag-co-author siya og usa ka best-selling pre-week reviewer sa remedial law para sa mga bar examinees. Gipresentar niya ang usa ka papel sa court and case management sa imbitasyon sa International Organization for Judicial Training. ang global network sa mga judicial training institutions. Nagsulat usab siya og isa ka toolkit para sa mga trial court judges of the Philippines, as well as a working paper sa pagpatuman sa ethical standards. Nakapublish siya og ubay-ubay nga mga artikulo sa Court of Appeals Journal ug sa Ateneo Law Journal. Si Justice Singh usab kaaktibo nga magtutudlo sa mandatory continuing legal education. Gipili isip isa ka 17 nga Metrobank Professional Chair Lecturer para sa 2021. Usa ka sikat nga lecture series para sa mga outstanding members of the judiciary. Ang unang babae nga gihatagan niini nga pag-ila. Niadtong May 18, 2022, nanumpa si Justice Singh at ubangan ni Chief Justice Alexander G. Hesmundo, isip ika 194th nga Associate Justice sa Korte Suprema. Mga kaigsuunan, gipaningkamutan ni Justice Singh nga makaanhi sa butuan karon, pero tungod sa mga dili malikayan nga kahimtang, dili siya makaanhi. Pero nag-andam siya og recorded keynote address para sa atong tanan. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Justice Maria Filomena D. Singh.
Young, President of the Father Saturnino Orios University, Reverend Father Randy Jasper Odchigue, Vice President for Academic Affairs and Research, Engineer Zenaida Azura, Vice President for Administrative and Student Affairs, Attorney Rodney C. Ato, Dean of FSUU College of Law, Mr. Jose Roy Viralio III, Senior Advisor, Peace Building and Governance, Strengthening the Implementation of Regional and Local Peace and Development Agendas in Mindanao, GIZ GmbH, Country Director, GIZ Office, Manila. Dr. Sherlene Medori T. Alegre, Director, Graduate Studies and Research. Mr. Jeffrey Carin, Director, Community Involvement and Advocacy, Development Centers, NSTP Policy Center. Good morning to one and all. It is an honor and a privilege to deliver the keynote address at this 8th Mindanao Peace Studies Conference of the Father Saturnino Orios University in collaboration with GIZ GmbH. I apologize to all of you that I could not join you in person for reason of other equally important work commitments. Please allow me to begin by commending the FSUU, the GIZ, and all the organizers and participants in this peace conference for the work that you have done and that you continue to do. The pursuit of peace is a monumental task in terms of scope as well as impact. Until the day comes that peace is fully realized, it will always be necessary to talk about peace. Perhaps some no longer believe that the day will come. I, on the other hand, choose to believe. But I concede that the notion of peace can at times seem rather elusive, especially in times as trying as these. We live in a world that has been ravaged by disasters, both natural and man-made. Our lives have been upended by a pandemic, and we are still reeling from the dire consequences of COVID. Our planet continues to die right before our eyes. And the topic of peace has sadly again hogged the headlines. Global conflict, war on a large scale, looms threateningly on the horizon. Yet, we cannot lose sight of the conflicts that beset us, some larger than others, which all impact our daily lives. And there remains the daily struggle for many people, many communities, just to be heard, just to be seen. These include the challenges that many of our indigenous peoples and communities continue to face. The rights of indigenous peoples should be considered a pressing national and not only a regional concern. The statutory definition of indigenous cultural communities or indigenous peoples under Republic Act No. 8371 or the Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act of 1997, the IPRA, in particular distinguishes them as historically differentiated from the majority of Filipinos, thereby effectively classifying them as minorities. Fewer in number does not and should not equate to less in stature and standing. The recognition of and preservation of minority rights, of indigenous people rights in particular, is the true measure of inclusivity and equality guaranteed by no less than our Constitution. In the same way that our national territory is composed of more than 7,000 islands, so too is our nation woven from a tapestry of a multitude of languages, traditions, and cultures. Genuine peace can only be achieved through continual dialogue to attempt a consensus or at least a convergence among these plurality of interests, identities, and values in order to forge a united front in the face of all of our difficulties. History, however, has shown that dialogue is not always present nor fruitful. History, however, has shown that dialogue is not always present nor fruitful. Still and all, that the dream of peace is woven into the very fabric of our society. Nothing less than the highest law of the land, our Constitution, invokes the word peace several times. In the preamble, when it speaks of the aspiration for a regime of truth, justice, freedom, love, equality, and peace. In Article 2, Section 2 of our Declaration of State Principles, where it is stated that the Philippines renounces war as an instrument of national policy, adopts the generally accepted principles of international law as part of the law of the land, and adheres to the policy of peace, equality, justice, freedom, cooperation, amity with all nations. And then again in Article 2, Section 5, stating that the maintenance of peace and order, the protection of life, liberty, and property, and the promotion of the general welfare are essential for the enjoyment by all the people of the blessings of democracy. Equally enshrined in our Constitution is the recognition of the rights as well as the importance of our indigenous peoples and their customs, traditions, and knowledge. Under Article 2, Section 22, the state recognizes and promotes the rights of indigenous cultural communities within the framework of national unity and development. In Article 12, Section 5, it provides that the state shall protect the rights of indigenous cultural communities to their ancestral lands to ensure their economic, social, and cultural well-being, and that Congress may provide for the applicability of customary laws governing property rights or relations in determining the ownership and extent of ancestral domain. Congress has done so through the IPRA. Article 14, in turn, on education, science and technology, arts, culture, and sports, in Section 2, refers to indigenous learning systems. In Section 10, it provides that the state shall support indigenous, appropriate, and self-reliant scientific and technological capabilities, while Section 17 provides that the state shall recognize, respect, and protect the rights of indigenous cultural communities to preserve and develop their cultures, traditions, and institutions, and it shall consider these rights in the formulation of national plans and policies. In the last 35 years since the adoption of these constitutional guarantees, the most difficult task has been and continues to be breathing life into these words, turning abstract aspirations into tangible outcomes. I submit that we in the judiciary ought to know a thing or two about the pursuit of peace, that in fact we are in the very process of peacemaking. Justices and judges are at the end of the day peacekeepers and peacemakers. It is before the courts that we bring our conflicts, be they with one another or with the state. Our court's very mandate is to mediate legal disputes, resolve conflicts, and settle controversies. Jurisprudence itself is a discourse. Thus, in many cases where there are various viewpoints that cannot be reconciled into a single opinion, justices write separate or concurring or dissenting opinions in the recognition that though the Supreme Court at the end of the day must speak with one voice, it is composed of 15 justices who come from diverse backgrounds and who represent different ideologies and philosophies. For instance, the stirring words of former Chief Justice Renato Puno in the conclusion to his separate opinion in the 2000 case of Cruz versus Secretary of Environment and Natural Resources, where he opined eloquently on the constitutionality of the IPRA, remain poignant to this very day. And his separate opinion is now required reading in freshman constitutional law classes. Allow me to quote, "The struggle of the Filipinos throughout colonial history had been plagued by ethnic and religious differences. These differences were carried over and magnified by the Philippine government through the imposition of a national legal order that is mostly foreign in origin or derivation. Largely unpopulist, the present legal system has resulted in the alienation of a large sector of society, specifically the indigenous peoples. The histories and cultures of the indigenes are relevant to the evolution of Philippine culture and are vital to the understanding of contemporary problems. It is through the IPRA that an attempt was made by our legislators to understand Filipino society not in terms of myths and biases, but through common experiences in the course of history. The Philippines became a democracy a centennial ago, and the decolonization process still continues to this day. If the evolution of the Filipino people into a democratic society is to truly proceed democratically, that is, if the Filipinos as a whole are to participate fully in the task of continuing democratization, it is this court's duty to acknowledge the presence of indigenous and customary laws in the country and to affirm their coexistence with the land laws in our national legal system." End of quote. Chief Justice Puno's opinion, as well as those of the other justices in Cruz, continues to be invoked and cited in succeeding cases dealing with the IPRA and indigenous people's rights. They continue to inform our thoughts and shape our reasoning. U.S. Supreme Court Justice Robert Jackson famously quipped that we on the Supreme Court are not final because we are infallible, but we are infallible only because we are final. We justices will be the first to agree that we are certainly not infallible, and therefore the pursuit of justice, just like the pursuit of peace, is a constant journey of re-examination and re-evaluation, so that we might hew ever closer to the core tenets and bedrock principles that animate our society. But the judiciary as an institution recognizes that for our work to have meaning and value beyond merely its coercive power, people must actually see and believe that we are doing justice. They must witness to believe that justice is not only for those with power, money, or connections, but it is just as much, if not more, for those who have less, in the words of former President Ramon Magsaysay Jr. It is why we hold ourselves, not only as judges but as lawyers as well, to the highest ethical standards. We strive to avoid even the appearance of impropriety. The proper functioning of our courts is a cornerstone of peace. When people believe that our courts are indeed dispensing justice with competence, integrity, probity, and independence, then we do our part in fostering peace. As attributed to U.S. President Eisenhower, peace and justice are two sides of the same coin. When people believe that the courts fall short of their task, we fail the people who, rather than being empowered, are left disenfranchised and disillusioned. When legal institutions fail, people feel compelled to take measures into their own hands. For if the very institution that is supposed to hear their pleas and prayers shuns or spurns them, who else do they have to turn to except themselves? As the judiciary cannot survive without the trust and confidence of the people it serves, the Supreme Court, through the courts, are dead set on earning such trust and confidence. To this end, we have been undertaking some of the most transformative activities ever conceived in the court's 121-year history. I have spent 20 years in the judiciary and have spent time in all levels of the judicial system, from the first level trial courts and now in the court of last resort. I know firsthand that it is a system that is far from perfect, but I assure you that we are not standing idly by. The Supreme Court of the Philippines recently released its Strategic Plan for Judicial Innovations 2022-2027, or what we call the SPJI. Under the stewardship of the Chief Justice, the Honorable Alexander G. Hesmundo, the Supreme Court endeavors to concretize the path towards achieving its long-time aspiration of enabling the judiciary to deliver responsive and real-time justice. This is the Supreme Court's recognition of the need for resilience and adaptability. The SPJI is aimed at ensuring that the judiciary can continue to serve the people as an institution that is at its best, and that it will truly function as a bulwark anchoring such universal principles as the rule of law and the dignity of all, precepts that underpin human civilization, while also being responsive to change and welcoming of improvement. As made clear in the SPJI, the Supreme Court affirms that one of the four guiding principles for its plans is that of equal and inclusive justice. Springing forth from this is one of the SPJI's three stated outcomes, which is to improve access to justice through inclusivity, transparency, and accountability in the court's adjudicative and administrative systems and procedures. One of the primary objectives in achieving the outcome of access to justice is enhancing public access to information and legal services. In St. Thomas More's Utopia, he writes of a world where the laws are easily understood by all people, where the pursuit of justice is not hampered by unnecessary complications and obscured behind technical rules and legal jargon, or at least a world where one does not need to spend 4 years in law school and at least another preparing to hurdle the bar in order to comprehend the legal system. There are concrete steps that the Supreme Court is taking in this direction. Streamlining and easing the process, even of just simply finding the laws and the rules, is one such step. Such an aim calls for innovation, technological in character, which can be viewed as a corollary of resilience and adaptation. As fellow scholars, I am certain that you can appreciate how simplifying the process of research can be one of the most powerful tools towards increased productivity and relevance. The Supreme Court is thus set to reboot the Supreme Court e-library and employ artificial intelligence in making legal research much more convenient and faster. With regard to the decisions and resolutions our courts render, the Supreme Court is exploring the inclusion of a program similar to that used in the United States, Shepherd, which traces the history of a particular case and its relation to other cases. This will help ease the process of navigating through our jurisprudence. Also, as part of our ongoing revision of the rules of court and the rules on pleading, practice, and procedure, we aim to produce a compendium of such rules as a capstone in order to facilitate ease of reference. And for court issuances and guidelines, we have recognized that the lack of a single repository has bogged down our dockets and needlessly confused litigants. We have therefore resolved to develop a complete compilation of such administrative issuances. Language, too, is an important part of inclusion. To this end, we are looking to expand our access to justice sites to include not only English and Filipino, but other languages and dialects as well. We have also recognized that elimination of discrimination begins with the words we use. And in this regard, we have institutionalized the use of gender-fair language in all courts, offices, and issuances. We believe this is an important step towards fostering sensitivity and respect for the differences inherent in all people, be it in religion, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, politics, culture, and whatever else. We also explicitly recognize that access to justice remains a stifling challenge for many Filipinos. Therefore, to ensure that marginalized sectors, identities, groups, and communities, including, of course, our indigenous peoples and communities, can be given adequate aid and representation, we recognize that law schools, such as the one here in FSUU, have the significant potential to provide quality legal aid services. Such schools are also in a unique position to respond to the particular circumstances or problems in a given community. To this end, we have made the completion of the clinical legal education program courses a requirement for bar examination applicants beginning in 2023, and the establishment of legal aid clinics in our law schools a mandatory requisite for continued operations. It is our vision that with the setting up of legal aid centers in over 124 operational law schools across the country, more disadvantaged and underserved members of society will be able to avail of free legal aid services. But in truth, our SPJI admits that there is so much more that needs to be done towards ensuring that no one in need of legal aid or representation falls through the cracks. This is why we welcome the scholarship that conferences such as this one produce, as studying them can help us identify where we are falling short and how we can do better. Indeed, as enshrined in our Bill of Rights, free access to the courts and quasi-judicial bodies and adequate legal assistance shall not be denied to any person by reason of poverty. Justice for all, for each and every Filipino, must not remain simply a slogan. It should transcend mere rhetoric, must contain more than empty platitudes. It must be lived. In conclusion, I must reiterate that we must believe that peace is possible, whether in our lifetimes or in that of the generations soon to come, and that genuine and lasting peace must rest on an inclusive foundation. Finally, peace is about finding solutions, commonalities, similitudes, links, and ties. It is at bottom about people. The recognition that every human being is equal, entitled to dignity and respect, bound to each other by the singular aspiration to live and flourish under a regime of the rule of law and the reign of decency. I bid you all good morning once again, and I wish you a fruitful and successful conference. Thank you.
Daghan kaayong salamat Justice Singh sa pagpasabot kanamo no nga kinahanglan gyud nato istoryahan ang kasaysayan sa kalinaw. No matud pa niya, it is really necessary to talk about peace. Matud pa ni Justice Singh, daghan gayud kasinatian ng atong mga tribo, no, daghay mga challenges. In fact, niingon po si Justice Singh nga dili pasabot na tungod kita minoridad, tungod kay gamay ra kita, makaapekto kini sa stature nato or standing nato sa lipunan. Niingon si Justice Singh nga sa ato ang constitution, no, klaro kaayo ang polisiya sa peace. No, giklaro po dito nga gi-recognize sa atong constitution ang mga katungod sa atong indigenous peoples. Ana usab mga importante nga mga polisiya ang ato ang Pilipinas aron padayon nga protektahan ang atong kultura. Matud pa ni Justice Singh, no, ang iya ang na-observe is that kasagaran sa problema nagsugod niini maskin adto pang colonial times tungod sa mga ethnic and religious differences. Og tungod niini karon na-alienate ang atong indigenous peoples. So para kang Justice Singh, kinahanglan gayud nga atong i-acknowledge ang atong mga IPs or ang atong indigenous peoples ug ang ila ang customary laws. So matud pa ni Justice Singh, ang ato ang hudikatura or ang ato ang justice system naningkamot usab nga makatabang kanatong tanan. In fact, naatay mga gitawag nga mga legal aid centers nga gipahigayon sa ato, especially sa atong Supreme Court, and in fact, sa FSUU naa kita gitawag nga FSUU ULAP. So ako humanon niini nga matud pa ni Justice Singh, genuine peace can only be achieved through continual dialogue. Kinahanglan gayud kini nato istoryahan. Daghang salamat. Thank you so much, Justice Singh. So I hope daghan kayo kitang nahibaluan ug nakatunan karong buntaga gikan sa ato ang speaker. Salamat usab sa mga partisipante nato sa pagsalmot sa atong mga hisgotanan. O karon atong hatagan og certificate atong keynote speaker. So allow me to read the citation. Certificate of Appreciation is presented to Justice Maria Filomena D. Singh for the invaluable contribution as keynote speaker in the Indigenous Peoples Forum with the theme Securing Peace and Development, Resilience among ICCs and IPs in Agusan del Norte during the Mindanao Peace Studies Conference 8 held on November 22 to 23 to 2022 at the CBE Function Hall, Father Saturnino Urios University. Given this 23rd day of November 2022 at Father Saturnino University. Signed, Peter Hin, Principal Advisors, paid Minpad Rice, Deutsche Gesellschaft Internationale Zusammenarbeit. Signed, Reverend Father Randy Jasper C. Ochige, Vice President for Academic Affairs and Research. Signed, Reverend Father John Christian Yu Yang, President, Father Saturnino Urios University. So the certificate will be received in behalf of Justice Singh by our Dean of College of Law, Attorney Rodney Ato. We would also like to request the presence of Father John and Father Randy to award the certificates. Okay, so the certificate will be sent to Justice Singh soonest. Okay, so daghang salamat kaayo. Nahuman na ang unang bahin sa atong programa karong buntaga. Para sa atong mga online participants, diri na tama ng atong live streaming. Apan anaa paghihapon kita yung mga kalihukan ugma sa day 2 sa atong komperensya. In fact, naatay mga, or aduna kitay mga paper presentations nga pwede nato masalmutan online sa atong official Facebook page sa FSUU Butuan City, Philippines o ingon man sa Zoom. Thank you so much to our online participants. Okay pa ba ang tanan? Okay pa? Okay pa, ma'am, sir? Okay, so karon mag-break usa kita. No, so natay 10 minutes nga ipahigayon karon. So naatay sa gawas, naatay snacks dito. So after 10 minutes, mamalik lang kita dinhi para sa next nga part sa atong program nga mao ang IP Forum. So enjoy the snacks. Daghang salamat. Ang tanan. Snack. No, kay Amos atong hall para sa